Going on today, guys? It is March 4th, 2025. If you guys took a long today, you got harassed in the market. I know a couple people who did. I think a lot of people actually either didn't take a trade today or took a long and got stomped out right out of market open. And for me personally, it was a very, very confident long that I had. I was super confident with my bias today, and I think that was a problem. It's a big, big lesson that I learned today. I knew this coming in, but I think this is just even more emphasized now and something I have to work on. It's been something I've been trying to work on this past few days, maybe a weeks that I've been working on, and I just have to do better. I'll remember to do it some days, then I'll forget about it. Once my when if if I'm overly confident coming into the market, I'll forget about this. So it's something that I have to work on, and maybe by me talking about this, you guys are gonna realize. Maybe you guys will realize you have this problem as well, and hopefully it'll help you, and you can learn something from this. Because I genuinely think you can. I genuinely think a lot of people struggle with this, and it's a reasonable thing to struggle with. I think it's very common. It's not talked about too much. It's just it's just assumed people know how to do it and just not really talked about. And I kind of want to see if this is what people are specifically struggling with. Um, and yeah, let's just get into it. So I today had a strong bias. This is kind of a trade recap, kind of not, just kind of what I learned about reanalyzing the market. So I apologize if this isn't what you're looking for, but it's just kind of why I think what went wrong here and how I can improve from it. So the reason why I was super bullish today was because obviously overnight we were just accumulating this entire time. So obviously this was accumulation. Then coming into the market, or like Asia, right at London, we were kind of dumping a little bit. And this to me was a perfect accumulation, manipulation, distribution setup. After the accumulation here, we want to distribute manipulation down. We manipulate this daily low here, right? Yesterday's low, I'm pretty sure. Was this yesterday's low? Well, it was still a daily low that we yeah, it was a daily low we manipulate. So we take a high time frame sell, so look right here, we manipulate that low. Actually, this might have been a weekly low. No, it wasn't a weekly low, but still, it's a higher time frame low. It's a daily low, so we'll manipulate that. After we get some manipulation, we'll get some push higher, and we'll start our buy model, and then enter like the market maker buy model, right? That was my thought process: accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Pretty simple, right? Right now, looking at the market. Right now, it's 4:44 p.m. Eastern. I mean, it's not wrong, right? We get accumulation, we get manipulation, we get distribution. So maybe you're asking what's the problem here? Your bias was right, for the most part. The problem was I was looking at it at too much of a higher time frame, and this is exactly what I've been struggling on. Is I'm not taking what London's telling me. I'm taking what the entire market's telling me. And I think I'm applying higher time frame confluences to a smaller time frame. And maybe if I swung trade or swung higher time frame, I'd do better. But that's just not what I like doing, honestly. And I think something that's just the problem I've been dealing with, and I have to take more of what London's telling me, and I have to take more of what the market's telling me right now instead of trying to predict what the market will do. Because honestly, maybe I'm just right. Maybe I'm just right about this being accumulation, manipulation, distribution off chance. If the market was completely dumping all the way down to back here, I wouldn't be having this conversation about me being right with the accumulation, manipulation, distribution process. Um, so I really just need to start taking what the market's been giving me instead of just reacting to it. Example here would be, so we get, like, this is, I think, now getting into the trade, this is the reason why, or what I could have done better was, we get order flow on the 5 minute is what I should be looking for right when market opens. 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after, I should be strictly focused on what the 5 minutes tell me. So we get 5 minute order flow to the downside right now. But forget this even happened. Just right now, all I'm thinking about is we're getting manipulated lows. As soon as I see chain stay delivering the 5 minute, as soon as I see, structure form towards the bull side, I'm gonna take a long. This is obvious, right? One thing I also didn't consider was that we were within a 1 hour gap. I marked this out when I was trading, but for some reason I did not look at it at all. We were in a 1 hour gap. We had a 1 hour order block here, so it was going to be pretty hard for price to push past that point. I was just so set on price being bullish, I didn't even look at any of those things. That's the problem here. But however, the thing that also confused me was, I think this is where a lot of people mess up, is we had strong confluences for price to start pushing up forward, right? So because obviously this is all hindsight. I like you guys, like me, you guys, many of y'all probably thought the same, right? We get accumulation, manipulate these lows, and then we form structure here, right? We break structure right before market opens. We get a 5 minute change day delivery. We get a 5 minute fair value gap, and now all we're looking for is a retracement back to that fair value gap right here, right? So all we're looking for is a retracement back to that fair value gap. That's what I was looking for. I marked out this. I marked out the high and the low, and well, maybe that's another reason. This little small range wasn't in equilibrium. Um, but still, right? We had strong confidence that, or maybe I thought that price would kind of reach at least OTE to 62, 79%. But the thing here was, I should have been looking at it at a larger range as well. That was a bit too small of a range. If we mark out the larger range here from this swing high to this swing low, we're in a discount, right? So that's a great place for market makers to buy, right? A discount is a great place to buy. And so that was also kind of a confluence for me as to why I should have been long and at least target this as my first take profit or whatnot. So I had all these confluences to believe that we had I was stacking all of this confirmation bias that we would be long today, and I had such a stubborn bias that I didn't adapt to what the market was telling me. And whenever the market, right, we made volatility right when it tapped it back into the 5 minute, I was so strong about my bias that I just entered, didn't wait for too much confirmation, entered. I was super confident, and then we eventually get stomped out, right? We get stomped out, and then we make all this manipulation. This is where I should have switched my bias to bear. So we get all this. This is just manipulation. No one can really tell yet what the market wants to do. But the thing is, right, if I had marked out, if I had paid attention to this swing high to the swing low, and we saw this when we stuck to the 5 minute, because the 5 minute is essential. It's essential for me and what the market wants to do, right, when we open. If we saw this long wick, we can see that it taps back into equilibrium, right? We see that it taps back into equilibrium, and we immediately reject. In addition to that, tapping into equilibrium, we fill in this entire void. In addition to that, we get an SMT on the S&P 500. We get an SMT on S&P, and the ES is completely ahead of NQ. NQ was lagging. So at this point, this was where the manipulation was happening on NQ, right? Right now, ES is completely dumping. We get an SMT and ES is completely dumping. So sooner or later, NQ has to follow ES. That should have been the point where I was like, I should have been, okay, we're failing to break these highs. All we're doing is we're tapping back into equilibrium. We're tapping back into this order block area. We're filling in this void for market makers to get their sell orders in, because we're tapping back into a premium equilibrium zone. That's a fair value for market makers to put their sells, to put their shorts in. That's what I should have seen. But no, I saw a change day delivery. I saw break structure on the 5 minute, a 5 minute fair value gap. I saw accumulation manipulation. That's completely fine, right? That's completely fine to see. But you have to know when to adapt, because it's 1,000% possible, like today, that your analysis isn't right. It doesn't care that you saw a change day delivery on the 5 minute. It doesn't care you have an A+ setup. You can have an A+ setup, but the market doesn't give a shit. It can go completely against that. And that's when you have to adapt. Look for those confluences that the market is giving you. Right? So the market gave me these, but right when market opened, it gave me these. And it invalidated my previous confluences. It completely invalidated them. When it invalidated this fair value gap, my bias should have flipped to bearish, because that's when my confluences were invalidated. So one thing that I could have done to maybe prevent this trade from happening was just not trade pre-market. That's just something I'm gonna do moving forward. I think pre-market, I should be analyzing what happens pre-market and right when market opens, and stick to the 5 minute predominantly. And today, maybe this is all just hindsight bias, but still, I think reanalyzing the market and the trade that you took is crucial. And this is just what I saw today. I saw a range. I saw a swing high, a swing low. I marked the range out. Obviously, I'm not going to mark this one out because it hasn't happened yet. So right before market open, I saw swing high to swing low. I should have seen all price was doing was retracing back into this 1 hour fair value gap, this liquidity void that we have. We tap perfectly back into equilibrium for market makers to put their sells, the shorts in, for smart money to start selling. And then all the rest of this is just fluff. It's just manipulation, right? If we zoom into the 1 minute, everything else is manipulation. It's take out buy orders for people like me, people who just saw buys, who weren't able to adapt to the market. Because a lot of people I know were looking for these draws on liquidity. We had equal stacked highs, whatever you want to call them here, and that's reasonable, completely reasonable. We had a good setup for an accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That didn't happen. and I just have to adapt. I have to react to what the market's giving me. That's not what I did today. I stuck way too stubborn with my bias. I have to have a loose bearish or loose bias, bullish bear bias. Because if I'm not able to do that, I miss entries and I'm not able to catch what the market's telling me. And that's just something I have to work on. Yeah, man. I mean, that's just what I came out with. I mean, this is not a terrible loss. It's just a great learning day. I feel like this is one of my best learning days, honestly. So yeah, I'm glad this day happened. It just hurt, man. Looking at the other trade recaps, people who took these trades, people who were able to adapt to the market, clearly saw this as a manipulation move, a tap back into the equilibrium. Clearly saw that S&T happening and that ES was making lower lows as NQ was lagging, was kind of just accumulating, manipulating, and just building up more and more sell side liquidity for it to be taken sooner or later. And yeah, bro, if you look on the higher time frame, as you can see, 1 hour per value gap gets respected here, wicks off, makes this low, and then now we might start our accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So yeah, the first problem that I had was the first major problem was that I stuck way too hard with my bias. I saw that AMD and I didn't consider the fact that the market does not give a fuck about what I think, what I want it to do. You know, do what it wants, and it's my job to adapt to that. If I'm not able to adapt to that, I'm gonna get killed like I did today in the market. My second problem is I was confused on what confluence to take. I was so confident. I mean, it all stems from the first problem, but I was so confident on that 5-minute change day delivery, that 5-minute fair value gap. And I didn't know which one to believe. I saw that we had that imbalance, that bearish 1 hour for value gap, but I didn't know which one to believe. And that stems from me not reacting to the market, just having my pride, my ego, telling myself that it's going to go higher. And then I choose to believe what I want to believe instead of believing what the market's telling me. I have to see and believe that, and believe the SMT that it's giving me, believe the invalidation of my fair value gap, and believe the thing that the market's actually giving me instead of trying to believe my prediction. It's just something that I have to work on, and it's just gonna take time. It all starts with patience as well. Like, I didn't have to just enter off of this fair value gap. I could have zoomed in and wait for more confirmation after having this 5-minute fair value gap. I could have maybe waited for these 1 minute voids and 1 minute fair value gaps to get inverse. Maybe that would have been a better sign for me to enter into a long, but that's not what happened. Again, price failed to invalidate these 1 hour fair value gaps and respected these fair value gaps. So that was another reason why I just didn't really see it there. Main thing, have to react to what it's given me. Hopefully you guys took some value out of this. React to what it's giving you. Stop trying to predict instead. Most of the time, predicting is just gambling, and reacting to what the market's telling you also comes with patience. So yeah, but great learning day. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. God bless.